Alright, welcome back to Why Does No One Remember in This World? Anime Review, episode number 6. We're here reviewing the last 2 episodes released for season 1 for the show. I don't know if we're going to season 2 or not, given the fact that I actually kind of like this first season. Well, there was some parts where it's got a question, but... Okay, so... Basically, in the case of episode 11, the group, basically, all these soldiers actually have fighting Kyoko. Yep. And then, of course, because... Oh, she immediately remembers... When she sees the code breaker, she's like, oh, that belongs to Sid. Like, oh yeah, I remember him. And then the last rider shows up, tried to delete her, and then, of course, she basically pushed her away. Really easily. And then she just works with him. I'm like, wow, a hero who does not die. Yeah, third hero they met in the series. And by the way, the other one, they don't meet her for some reason. She's seen in episode 6, episode 7, and she's seen briefly in episode 12. And that's it for her. So after they kind of form a truce, so basically we have Kyoko, John, Renee, Kai, the guy who's in charge of the Rebel Army, and of course Ren. They all proceed to go inside the pyramid. Okay, this is the graveyard. This is where they prison the spirits. And like, oh, there's this door that how you get in there, and of course there's where it is, just open. And they walk in, and there's the same place where Sid's sword was kept. And then, of course, the sword activates and opens up a door where all of them get sucked to another dimension where the last riders are. And then, of course, oh yeah, we've been here before. And then, of course, they just happen to come across a very similar area that was seen back in episode 1 when Kai first met Renee. And, of course, basically, there was a statue. We saw this before this. The statue is actually of Freda, the hero of the spirits. That's basically who was there. He's apparently under petrification. So the last rider sends the people who don't remember Sid away. All except for, remember there is just Kai, Rennie, and Kyoko. And they have a fight there. And then it goes to back to Pyramid, which they defeat that particular riser. And then another riser shows up. Yes, another one. They battle that one, and it seems like that one's defeated. I think it's defeated, but not really. And then they all get outside. By the way, the Slush Hero, and of course Randy tells them not to smash the. And then they battle the aspect, for aspect 2. They battle and destroy the body, and then it starts humming something. And then another reincarnation happens, but Rennie stops it, and then because that was overwritten, they decided to send the strongest hero, Sid himself, in the final episode. Well, it's not actually him, it's a riser posing as him. But yeah, we kind of see what he looks like, and he's a guy who wears a white cloak, and for some reason he's very scruffy looking, and we don't really know what his full face looks like. So, they say this is Sid, just by... He looks like Sid. But here's the weird thing. We don't see the man's face. Not at all. In case you're curious, though, who's to blame for this? I kind of blame the original writer of Light Novel for this, for not getting a good description of the man's face. So they fight for quite a while. He summons his own code breaker. They fight for quite a while. Even his sword gets broken. Randy points out this is not the one who saved her. And then he transfers back into Riser. He gets defeated. We get sort of flashback of when Kai first fell on the graveyard. All has all these demons. And then seeing Sid's sword. But as soon as he touches it, that's when Randy pops up. And by the way, when Sid shows up, everyone just starts fading away. It's like it's another reincarnation. Look up and stop. And then Kai wakes up. And Randy is there. And apparently he's been out for 3 days. So the whole thing about Sid, that basically was unconscious for 3 straight days. And then, of course, basically, well, Renee reveals that she likes him. And, of course, basically, it looked like they're about to kiss. And then John and Ren show up, have it like, what's going on here? And of course you have where John holding his hand, of course Ren basically saying near him, and kind of like, what's going on? By the way, this is their flashback of basically of the first episode when Kai is talking to John before when having training. And then, of course, they come back to the present day stuff. And apparently, Kai under his coat is still wearing his uniform he was wearing in the flashback, which I found that to be interesting. Yes. So, and of course, the girls argue all about him. And we see why the Rennie, the one who's basically the champion, the hero of the Mythic. Apparently, we see these two globes in the sky. And looks like it's about to collide, and apparently reincarnation is supposed to stop it. I don't see how. It's not very clear here about that. But it looks like that. By the way, at one point during the battle with the Rise, it looked like that Kyoko was destroyed. But nope. Tiny little thing sits on the guy's shoulder. Says take her about 30 years to get on spirits basically restore her proper size. Okay. They say she's a spirit even though that those are slimes. All of them. Not sure why they call them spirits for, but clearly those are slimes. And of course, basically they go on the next journey, and in the episode. Very interesting ending of this one. I do love the battle here. Anybody who watches probably agree. The whole thing with Sid, the Sid imposter show up at the very end. That felt like basically like, really? I did read apparently that the anime did stray a little bit from the source material with this ending. They did it first half of Volume 3. Yes. But why they went this route for, I don't know. It's a nice ending, but it did leave it open for Season 2 if they ever desire Season 2. Would they adapt the rest of the book? I don't know. It's just kind of weird. I did enjoy reading light novels, and here's the weird thing about this series. Excuse me. The light novels have not been released here. Nope, they have not. Why in the world they have not been released here? I have no idea. You might be curious, is the manga released here? Here's a bit of a shocker for you. Nope, the manga was never released here at all. I'm like, really? Actually, it has released here, but yeah, apparently it's released by Kawaka. That's the North American publisher for it, and they apparently okay, so there's no physical copy of the thing. So there is a digital copy of the books on Bookwalker. Okay. But light novels have not released here. I've read the first 3 out of 9. And can you believe the light novel series was only published for about 3 years before it concluded? Now, with this ending, does the whole thing of undoing this timeline, does it get... By the way, also the goddess is briefly seen in the last episode, where the female god, where she is basically her figure is cracking, and then we see 2 feathers fall on the ground, a black feather and a white feather, possibly representing Rennie, but who knows? But that's kind of the thing in a nutshell. This anime has been really enjoyable to watch. Yes, I did have a problem with the whole thing with the whole classification of celestials, including so basically it's like elves, angels, dwarves. Elves, angels, dwarves, and fairies are all classified as celestials. I thought that was kind of weird. Yeah, because basically these are standard fantasy characters who are seen in practically every single fantasy stuff, both America and Japan. So why they classify as this, I don't know. A behemoth classified as a mythical beast, I have less of a problem with that one. It's like, I get the mythical beast is basically the regular monsters we normally see in other franchises. Oh, well, there's some species we never saw in this one. Okay, so these flying species were never seen. No explanation if they exist if they exist in the universe or not. Well, we kind of saw some dwarves, but we never had proper dwarf characters. So these species I can think of never made appearance in the series I saw. Dryads. No dryads. No giants. We did see a dragon. Yep, we saw a dragon. So dryads, giants. There's no vampires. Yeah, none. You would think, oh, it might include a vampire. Nope, no vampires. I found that to be interesting. Yes. The succubus thing I'm not surprised about, but plus Zoe 9 Vanessa was hot anyways, and she's just to be back, but who knows. I hope they find a way to undo her death because she was a gorgeous looking character. I like her. Like, and the whole thing with her sister, like, she just one episode and she disappears, never mentioned again. Like, what was the point of bringing her sister if you're not going to do anything with her? I don't think what species we're seeing besides, let's see. Well, slimes were definitely seen. Okay, so another species not seen. Cat people. No cat people in this series. None. Yeah. The fairies, for some reason, were the forms of little kids, about 5 or 6 years old. Despite the fact that I've seen them look older, some basically are the height of teenagers I've seen. Some I think, oh, fairies, these tiny people. No, they've been bigger. Japanese anime to depict fairies is very average-sized people with just wings. And by the way, this fairy that they show here, this tiny little thing they call a fairy, yeah, it has no wings. And you have to classify that thing as a fairy. I don't know why. Also, no male elves. Like, I'm sure they probably have male elves, but none were seen. The owner, for some reason, was identified on one website as a male. This would be like, look at this person. It's clearly a female, not a male. The angel aspect was interesting as a concept for species for the series. The last series I saw were featured angels as an actual species in it. There have only been technically 2 I've seen. Actually 3. There have been 3 altogether. There's been High School DxD. Yes, they have angels. And led by Gabriella, who the main character decided to peep on her and not get punished for it, because basically he's a pervert. There is Farm Life in Our World. And The Devil's Part-Timer. So there's roughly about 3 of them, basically, to have angels. But not all of them. Angels are not a really big species usually in Japanese anime, but I'm surprised I came across 3. Just like for dryads, only 3, surprisingly. But not much else to say about this series. What anime I do next? Like, basically, for binge watching. Right now, I'm going to go back to binge watching. Go back to watch King Launcher. Excuse me. There's a couple of anime I want to get into. Not say it's going to be next, but one anime I plan to get into next is going to be Solo Leveling. Yep, I forget things about this series, so I want to check it out. But what's next? A Comic Corner, and then it's on to Is Girl's Dungeon. Okay? So next video. Bye.